Hello and welcome everyone to a new Heroes of Might and Magic free video, where in this one we're going to be tier listing every single Planeswalker in the game. Planeswalkers are the Might class for the Complex faction, and damn, they're really good. They roll logistics basically all the time, and they're only held back by usually their starting skills. So let's go over every single one of them. First of all, we have Erdogan and Fjor. These two guys are basically the same, except one clearly looks a lot cooler than the other. They start off with estates and tactics, and also their primary skills are 3-1-1-1, meaning that they do a lot of damage from the very beginning of the game. So Fjor and Erdogan end up being really good side heroes. First of all, they will be able to take fights for you really well with their starting primary skills and also tactics in the early game. They'll take the black tiles for you, they'll take out the ranges for you, and also while doing so, they will be generating gold for you. I really like to see these heroes in my tavern, and they are a wonderful addition to my kingdom every single time. That said, they don't really make into very good mains, and you don't usually build them up past level 5. But even then, whenever you build them to level 5, you're usually pretty happy. So Erdogan goes B tier, and Fjor goes just below him, because he's not the molten rock like Erdogan is, clearly. Next up is we have Fjor. Fjor is one of the... Fjor has so much potential. He's the fire elemental specialist, and he starts off with advanced offense. But you see, the skill tree for planeswalkers is actually not that good, because they usually roll for artillery. Artillery, learning are the kind of skills that they sometimes learn, and whenever you get a choice between two new skills, Planeswalkers get notoriously bad options. So Fjor is very often going to be stuck with a bad skill at level 3. However, if you can get past the fact that if you can get a good skill for him before you get to level 3, or you end up randomly rolling into a good skill on level 3, then this guy is one of the best possible mains for you in the entirety of the game. And this potential, I would say, puts him at A tier at being a main hero. Not really consistent, but potentially really good. So yeah, next up is we have Ignis, the other fire elemental specialist. Now, the fire elemental specialty doesn't really do that much, and also she's taught with basic offense and artillery. Now, she's actually one of the better artillery heroes. She does not really specialize in it, and she doesn't get a ballista immediately into the game, but if you can get a ballista on top of her, she's gonna be dealing a pretty good amount of damage, because Planeswalkers are a very attack stat oriented class, meaning that they start off with a lot, and they also gain quite a bit in terms of their skill growth. So, because of that, she actually is a pretty decent hero. Not really so much as a main, but more of like a hero that you're happy to find maybe in a prison. The type of hero that, you just get a few levels on just so she can do some good fights for you. She is pretty okay. But okay is the best I would give her. I would put her just below the Earth Elemental dudes. Next up is we have Colt. Colt starts off with tactics and learning. Now, learning, of course, is not really a skill that you really want on any of your heroes, because it doesn't really make any sense. It's a really bad skill, it's a pretty dead skill, and so Lakis ends up having a botched skill tree from the very get-go of the game. And also, you don't really like to see him in the tavern, because he ends up having water elementals instead of air elementals, and air elementals are your primary power stack in early game conflicts. So because of these reasons, this hero ends up being very tragic and bad, despite being a Planeswalker. The only redeeming quality of this hero is that he has tactics, making you able to take black towers on this hero. Dwellings are pretty good on this hero, but even then, you don't really want to see him almost ever. I would say C tier. If it wasn't for tactics, then this would be D tier. And next hero is Lakis. Lakis is very much like Fjor, except, instead of advanced offense, he has advanced tactics. And I would say tactics is a less impactful early game skill than offense, at least for a main hero. Now, if you need expert tactics in order to take out some sort of ranged gods, then Lakis is actually going to do a really good job for you. He gets 1 level up and he's already at expert tactics. He's the only hero in the game that can do this, and that's actually pretty insane and really good in some very specific scenarios. That said, going past level 2 is probably gonna give you some pretty bad or mixed results, so you don't usually invest into this guy as a main hero, despite actually having some potential to make a good one. So I would say they go below Erdogan and Funner. And also they, by the way, bring 2 stacks of fishes into the game when they spawn with army, which is bad because you want air elementals way more than you want fishes. So there you go. And next up is we have the 2 brothers of the psychic elementals. We have Passes first. He starts off with offense and artillery, so basically Ignis except with a different specialty. And now, not that these specialties actually do anything that much useful to you, so he's going just alongside. No, actually no, he's better than Ignis in the sense that he brings over 2 stacks of air elementals into the game. So he's the kind of guy that you actually really want to see in the tavern immediately in your config game, and if you do, you're pretty happy. Sometimes you even start with this dude just to have more air elementals in your army. Like in the case that Monair is banned, some elementalists are banned, then you pick Pastas for some starting army, and that's pretty good. He's also like a good side hero with lots of attack, some potential damage from offense and artillery. He's okay. It's pretty good. I'll put him over here. And next up is we have Monair. Monair is actually the hero in the game that in turn 1 ends up starting with the most amount of moves immediately. His slowest unit is speed 7, and he also has logistics immediately into the game. In that sense, he's actually really good to see, no matter in what kind of scenario. And also, he starts off with 2 really good secondary skills. Offense and armor, and that makes him amazing. This guy is absolutely amazing. Being this guy almost every single time I see him, being able to actually travel far with the logistics, doing a lot of damage with the offense, and having the decent skill trees of the Planeswalkers makes this guy into an absolute beast. He is the go-to mind hero of the Conflicts faction, and he is way more consistent than Fjor. Whatever Fjord doesn't do, Monair does, and he does it really well. What an amazing hero. One of my favorite heroes of the game, actually. I like him a lot. So, this was my tier list for Planeswalkers of Heroes of Might and Magic Free. I hope you guys enjoyed. And now, I'll bring you the comments of the Tribunal, Ame and Feral. Hey guys.
Hey Lexi. Hey Ame, how you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing great, so... Okay, Lexi, I'm actually very surprised you put Lakis in the B tier, just because of how much he actually brings into the table. Advanced tactics, he's like one of, 2 heroes that start with tactics in the game? I mean, not in conflicts specifically. And if you're playing, for example, Castle, you do love the 3 attack he has, and you want to do the pogs with him, of course. Yeah. And one more thing I want to point out, you said Planeswalkers are kind of bad because they usually get artillery or something, right? Something along those lines, learning artillery. But what class doesn't? I mean, there's Beastmasters that get first aid, ballistics, artillery, all that stuff, resistance, if you're playing in the old patch. Like, my point is, I think you're really underestimating Planeswalkers.
I mained the Fjord very many times, and out of the times that I mained them, the choices between 2 new skills seem way worse for Planeswalkers rather than compared to someone like Beastmasters or Barbarians. They far more consistently end up getting a good skill to choose from. Now, yes, very many classes are likely to roll artillery from the actual good classes. However, the other classes are also much likelier to have a good skill alongside the artillery choice.
Alright, I still disagree with you, but I'll just let Feral speak.
Yeah, let's go.
Alright, from my side, two things to point out. I'd say, firstly, this class, I think it's a pretty decently strong mind class in general, but I definitely think they are infinitely better when played as Conflicts versus any other faction. mainly due to the fact of the Magic University and the access they have to Earth Magic as a result of that. I mean, as a class, they have pretty much an equal chance to get any of the schools of Magic, just about. So, on any other faction, it can be a bit more inconsistent. On Conflux, they're way stronger, I think, as a my class. So that's the first thing. Secondly,
Yeah, agreed.
Secondly is passes. Him and Monero are the only two heroes in this class who actually start off with double stacks of airlies at the beginning. And as you mentioned, airlies are pretty much your go-to for the first 2 weeks of or first week of the game. They kind of carry all the fights and are your main power stack. So that's very, very useful. And given that Passus also has very high base moves because he doesn't start with any fishes. I think he has 1760, if the wiki's right. The base moves, so he can be super, super useful to find at any point in the game. And yeah, so overall, I think he's a very good hero. And the one thing I wanted to check with you, I know he has artillery specialist. Just remind me, does he start with a ballista?
Who?
Passus.
Passus is a psychic elemental specialist.
I mean, they start as artillery as a secondary skill. I mean, does he start off with a ballista?
No ballista.
Yeah, so that's kind of a complete dead skill. I was thinking that it literally does absolutely nothing for you unless you find a way to spend $2.5 grand to get a ballista. So
well, you sometimes get a ballista. I'm either from an external war machine factory or from a different hero.
Yeah, and you can sometimes get an Archangel from a refugee camp, but it doesn't change the fact that it's kind of a completely dead skill unless circumstances line up. So.
Yeah, so on its own it's dead, but I feel like it could be useful.
Yeah, I mean the double air elementals is a huge thing to have on that hero. It changes a lot of the objectives you can actually reasonably take, in the early game.
Yeah, it allows you to take. It makes runes like a lot easier for even any silly side hero that might be in your tavern.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, Sorry. Yeah, I was just going to bring up a point real quick, sorry. So I want to just point out, I want to compliment the Planeswalkers a bit more. So they start with the fastest tier 1 units in the game, which means that your scouts on any faction will be always the fastest possible. Yeah, you don't want to really upgrade units and give them out, so you'd rather have the pixies on, so yeah.
Yeah, whenever you find one of these guys as your secondary hero, you get like speed 7 side heroes instead of speed 6 as you usually have. That's amazing. And yeah, there's something that I didn't mention. It's a really feels good type of thing. And yeah. They spawn fast outside of the tavern, and they provide for some pretty good meat. Very useful meat. Okay, thank you for the TD Tribunal for your comments. They're always appreciated. So yeah, this was the tier list for the Planeswalkers. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to me on YouTube for more videos, and catch me live on Twitch. I stream every day, almost. Thanks for watching, and till next time. Bye-bye.